buddy. You remember how I said Sonic Frontiers was going to be bad?
Oh, no, is the game bad?
Yeah. Well, actually, no, just the Switch version.
What is that noise? Do you hear like a stomping sound?
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to call you back.
So are you gonna like climb up over me and fight me or what? Come climb. Climb up. Yeah. Come on.
I'm gonna pretend like I don't see that guy. I'm gonna cut to the chase at Sonic speed. Frontiers is just Breath of the Wild with Sonic.
Come back! I got coffee! Come here!
So much so that the entire game looks more like an Unreal Engine reskin of Zelda that's been modded to add Sonic, and someone took a magic marker and just scribbled all over the sky.
Come back! I got coffee!
And if it wasn't already unapologetically a carbon copy of Zelda, even from the initial launch trailer, it goes further to not even attempt to hide its blatantly stolen roots. I think most people at first glance can look at these two open worlds and spot the similarities. Complete freedom of choice in what you do, when, what, where, why, and how you want to do it, but also they even have challenge shrines, hidden Korok kids you collect to hand in with Korok seeds to Elder Koroks for upgrades, and oh yeah, they literally just call them Kokos. They changed like one letter.
Should I just leave? I'll just leave.
We can even ignore the Zelda-esque puzzles around the world and just skip straight to the sound they make when you solve them. Did Nintendo allow that? All the way down to the digital neon tech aesthetic this game went for. You can't tell me these challenge shrines dripping color to unlock doesn't look exactly like the shrines in Zelda drip, drop, dripping when they power up. Good, he's gone. Don't get me wrong, I would have fought him. I could if I wanted. I just wasn't wearing the right shoes like Sonic wears. Actually, I'm wearing better shoes. I'm wearing Vessi shoes. Maybe I should have fought him.
Come run on over here with those nice new shoes you got. You can, give me a climb.
So Kim and I moved to PA recently, have we said that? And guess what? It gets wet here. You know what comes in handy in wet weather? Good shoes. Regular shoes get wet and soak through to the sock. But with Vessis, I don't have to worry about wet weather because they're 100% waterproof.
These are sneakers that you can wear every day. And fun fact, I mean every day.
Both Kim and I still have
The same Vessis from last time we did a sponsor with them. I wear them a lot in my podcast that I do with Bob. If you go back over the last year, in most of the episodes, both Bob and I are wearing Vessis. I haven't had to buy a new shoe in 2 years.
They're such a good investment. They actually did just send some new ones though, and I'm thankful for that.
They're made from Dymatex, a dual climate knit which keeps you cool in summer and warm in winter. It honestly doesn't feel like it should be waterproof, but it's wild watching in slow motion the water just run off the shoe. Extremely lightweight, I can't recommend these shoes enough. They are my go-to shoe, and right now they're having a Black Friday sale with up to 30% off. So go to vessi.com/beatemups. Vessi's even giving away free socks to the first 100 people to use code SOCKSBEATEMUPS. And if you're watching this after and you missed the sale, you can still go to Vessi.com, where's that camera going? Vessi.com/beatemups and use code beatemups to get 15% off. Well, before Giant Bob comes back, I should probably get inside. Oh, you know, I might actually stay in here. It's terrifyingly Italian out there. Yeah, you know, I couldn't not talk about the comparison between these two games. Breath of the Wild is my favorite game after all, so I mean, Sonic being like my favorite game shouldn't be a bad thing, and I never said it was. In fact, it's weird, but I didn't like this game very much at first, and then the more I played it, the more it grew on me. You know, I don't know why, but I kinda like this wacky mess of a video game. Cue the montage. What is this song? What is this? Welcome to the mind of a different kind. We've been growing slowly. Think I'm on 11, but I'm on a 9. Yes, you don't really know. Oh yeah, before we talk about how fun this game can be, we do need to take a look at the train wreck that is the Nintendo Switch version. Okay, well, train wreck might be a bit harsh. It plays well. It's fast. Like, Sonic gotta go fast. But it's ugly as all get out with barely any redeeming visual qualities. Even when Sonic doesn't gotta go fast, you can see the world struggling to load in around you, with the draw distance being a short stone's throw in front of Sonic. I mean, I've heard of Sonic's rings, but I didn't think this was the ring that they meant. There's a literal ring of render around Sonic. Anytime you move, you can see the grass, trees, rings, and so on spawn in and around him. I can literally see the ring. Like, I can literally see the game code. When I look at this, I can see the game code. If I can see the game design like that, it throws me out of the illusion every single time. You can't help but be thrown out of the experience when it feels like you're constantly watching the game get built around you as you play. Again, it does play well, so sure, in a pinch, this version of the game is fine. I just implore you to buy it anywhere else unless this is your last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Oh, look at Sonic collecting all the ringings. I lasted about 1 hour in the Switch version before I dashed out to GameStop and spent another $60 on the PlayStation 5 version. Do you see why I went to, oh my God, to GameStop today and bought the PlayStation version? Well, this is a lot better. I feel like the colors, the greens, are definitely popping a bit more, but there's like actual grass and textures now, which is nice. And I am liking the 60 FPS. The 60 FPS is very nice. This feels like a whole different game, honestly. Yeah, that's right. I spent $120 on this game at launch, which just so happens to be one short week before they panic dropped the price to $40, because that's closer to what the game is actually worth. I feel like Sega owes me that extra $40, but the game is fun. It's not good. And it certainly doesn't have $60 worth of content, but let's talk about that. Sonic Frontiers begins with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, and the classic biplane known as the Tornado, which I didn't know it as the Tornado until I Googled it before I wrote this video. Also, fun fact that I may have learnt half an hour ago, it's not actually Tails' plane, it's Sonic's plane. Why does Sonic have a plane? I don't know. Why did he decide to give it to the one character in this universe that can fly already? I also don't know. I'm not a Sonic fan. Don't ask me questions about Sonic lore. They all get slapped with the rough side of Dr. Strange's stick, and now they're in an unknown world that looks almost exactly like those fan-made Ocarina of Time but in Unreal Engine videos on YouTube. Coincidence? Sonic now needs to figure out where he is and how to save his friends, and all this conflict was only written into the script to solve a problem the developers created themselves by making the game not look like a Sonic game. I'm not sure why they felt the need to take this direction, because, and don't get me wrong, I love the idea of Sonic going open world being the evolution of this franchise. Sonic has been in a rough patch since always, with Sonic's own fan base barely having a single video game they can agree on as being the best Sonic. In fact, really the only Sonic game that received universal praise wasn't even made by Sonic Team. It was fan-made. So sure, shake it up, head down to the coast, have a nice time, and make it open world like Zelda. But why not give us an open Sonic world? We've been staring at Green Hill Zone from the side for 20 years. Give us that. Fill the world with color and blast the contrast up to 11. See, now, like, if the open world looked like this, wouldn't it be more sick? Like, am I crazy? I would love to see this kind of Sonic environment that we've been seeing for years in an open world. Like, that's the evolution to me. Instead, they gave us a game so muted in color and devoid of life that it's just one TV setting away from becoming a black and white period piece. It just seems a bit unnecessary to build a convoluted multiverse story just to justify an art style that no one really asked for in the first place. Maybe they thought the stark difference in style would be intriguing enough to wrangle new players in, but I don't know. I can't help but imagine how this game would feel to play in a bright, vibrant Sonic open world. It makes the challenge shrines even weirder. You can approach them and load into an old school Sonic level. And by the way, some of these are fun as heck. This one's actually kind of fun, not gonna lie. Despite the terribly unreliable controls, Sonic, can you go? Sonic! Go! Go! Oh, God. But look at these colors and the design and the blam, the pop, the pizzam. Then it's over in a minute and you're spat back out to a color scheme murkier than the muck on the bottom of Sonic's juicy feet. And I'm wondering why I'm dealing with all of this, and then all of a sudden I'm like Supersonic and I'm just... This is sick. I mean, the music, the action, the animation, the Super Saiyan Goku Frieza last time on Dragon Ball Z, all of this rocks. Oh my lord, this game is such a beautiful mess. It's like they were just throwing everything out there to see what sticks and nothing really feels consistent. I mean, they clearly missed the point of Breath of the Wild's music. It wasn't just a few piano notes and chords while exploring the world because Nintendo didn't feel like hiring more than 3 instruments. It was an intentionally sporadic theme to highlight the spontaneous nature of the game and the player. But Sonic's creators stopped taking notes from Nintendo and instead literally took all the notes and then just called it a day. Even some of these challenge tracks have more muted music than the colors of the world. While playing on Twitch, I couldn't take it anymore. So I actually went into the game's settings and turned off the music and then loaded up a Sonic Adventure 2 playlist and blasted that while I was racing around, and it was fantastic. I don't like the music. It doesn't feel like Sonic music to me, if that makes sense. I need something a little bit more upbeat and jazzy. I'm muting the game. I'm muting the game. The game is muted. The game is muted. Let's see how we feel about this, chat. Yo, chat, we did it. We fixed Sonic, chat. Game of the frickin' year right here. But then, just to confuse you even more, there are some of these levels that have music that slaps harder than will. And when you get to the boss battles, oh man, they have these hardcore Parkway Drive, hell is a place for betrayers and mutineer breakdowns. I literally played through every biome in this game, whether I was having fun or not, just to get to the end of the level and see what track played in the next fight. The weird mishmash of styles just doesn't work at times, but then other times it really does. Every inch of the game has some kind of puzzle or platforming section or enemy to fight or secret to find. It really is a joy to cruise around and just mindlessly complete tasks, even if a lot of it is just so relatively brain dead easy that a toddler could do it with one hand while watching Blippi on an iPad in the other. And the combat had me worried at first because you only have one attack button and it spams a fury of fists. I thought that was gonna get repetitive very quickly. But honestly, my favorite thing about the entire game is how creative the developers were with the enemy types. Every single one has a different way of approaching it, whether it's straight up bopping it on the head, running circles around it to lower its defense, running up a Titan's limbs to reach the top, or running along the trail of this giant flying mech to trying to catch it, parrying a blast to stun a creature, and then using it as a hang glider. Attention, Nintendo Zelda's lawyers, are you listening? God, I was constantly impressed with every new thing the game would throw at me, trying to find new ways to smash it. Now, having said all that, I did mention the controls were clunky. Oh boy. Like this cat, the jump is pathetic. That's a cute cat though. From a stationary position, you can get a little bit of air, but if you're already running or flying through the air, the jump is as noticeable as a Twitter account that didn't pay for Twitter Blue in 2022. So to compensate for having no in-air movement, I try to use the air dash to cover some extra ground, but that's sketchy at best. This game is really hard to control. It will blast you in one direction, and you can't change direction mid-flight, and the direction you blast off in can be so random most of the time, you just gotta hope and pray that you go where you're trying to get. I manage to snap to rails 50% of the time, I go the way I want 30% of the time, and I understand what's going on about 10% of the time. But it all happens so fast, I never get bogged down with worrying about any of it. I just restart the challenge, or move on to the next part of the world. There's always something else to do. The challenge levels are exciting, despite the clunk. The world is fun to run around in, despite the mess. The enemies are fun to fight, despite the simple controls. For every negative, there is a positive. It's a game that really did grow on me the more I played it. It's not great. I definitely wouldn't even rate it higher than a 7, but it's probably the most fun I've had with a game that I would rate a 7. It has just enough to make me want to keep playing, but not enough to be super memorable once you've finished it, or really want to ever play it again. Look, I'm not saying don't buy it. I'm just saying don't buy it on the Switch unless you really have to, or unless the price drops anymore. I mean, it's only been a week and it's already $40. I can see it being $20 by next year, which it probably will be knowing my luck.
Hey, you gonna come outside at all, or should I just? I'll just leave. Every step I make, I'm deforesting.
Well, I'm not going out there for a while. That reminds me, actually, last thing, you can draw shapes with Sonic. So you can draw a circle, you can draw a figure 8. If you do that, you'll get infinite speed boost. Also, you can draw a giant penis.